Hello, welcome to Studio 37. This week we are going to be talking about my favorite artist of all time. When I say my favorite artist of all time, I really mean it. The reason why this artist is my favorite artist of all time is I learned more about my own art and my own artistic process through learning about him and the creation of his collages than any other artist to date. I would say many artists have a big influence on me, Picasso and Pollock and Warhol and Banksy, but this guy, does anybody know who it is? I bet some of you might be able to guess because we talked about it last lesson. This collage artist, Romar Bearden, has definitely had the biggest impact on my own studio stuff in my life. And he was such a phenomenal community member and poet and jazz composer and author of an art history book, as well as being an artist, just an all-around Renaissance man. How appropriate that is that he grew up during the Harlem Renaissance. I am going to send it over to my computer now to discuss the life and work of Romar Bearden. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, bear with me as I walk you through this Prezi. This is a Prezi, and it was made a little bit earlier on when I was still figuring out how to use the software. So forgive the swirls and twirls that Prezi is so commonly known for at this point. Also, a lot of the stuff that we are going to talk about today, you guys should already know, and it should be reviewed because of the last unit. But it never hurts to refresh our memory. Like I said, we're going to be learning about collage artist Romar Bearden. He is my favorite artist, and this is actually my favorite work of art. This piece in the background is called Uptown Sunday Night. What I love about this work, as well as many other Bearden pieces, is you can almost hear it. It almost feels like you're there. And look through all these pieces for all the different things, whether it be the piano, or the banjo, or the clarinet, trombones, or maybe that's a cornet and a trombone, drummer in the background. So as we examine this work, look for all the different things that make sound, because I really think that Bearden tried to make artwork that you can almost hear, and I absolutely love it. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share with you my work, and I hope you can see the parallels that have been drawn between myself and Bearden. Also, please make sure to take the time and watch the documentary Romar Bearden, A Black Odyssey. I believe you will enjoy it. It is enlightening and entertaining. So Romar Bearden was born in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1911, and he moved with his family during the Great Migration, which we had talked about last week. In 1890, African Americans began to migrate from the southern states to the northern industrial areas in search of jobs and opportunities. This allowed many people to escape the Jim Crow laws of the South and gave them an opportunity to earn a fair wage in a factory in a city up north. Here is a map illustrating the Great Migration. I do believe we talked about this the last time you had art, but nonetheless, it never hurts to reiterate some ideas. Romar Bearden was one of these artists that started in North Carolina and moved to Harlem. So the African Americans living in Harlem, New York, led to one of the greatest art movements of the 20th century, known as the Harlem Renaissance. Again, I told you some of this was review, so I'm going to go quick through it. This celebration of black culture in America had a strong impact on how the world viewed this recently freed population, as well as how African Americans viewed themselves. And of course, the impact of the Harlem Renaissance is very apparent in art, music, and literature throughout the world today. It had Augusta Savage teaching Romar Bearden during the Harlem Renaissance had a tremendous impact on my artwork myself. During the Harlem Renaissance, Romar Bearden's mother, Bessie, was the New York editor of the Chicago Defender. This was a widely read African-American weekly newspaper, and she became a prominent social and political figure in Harlem. Duke Ellington, Langston Hughes. Duke Ellington's a musician, Langston Hughes is a poet, as well as many other well-known artists, writers, and musicians were frequent visitors to the Bearden family home. One particular female sculptor named Augusta Savage had a tremendous impact on Bearden as a child, and I just recently learned that Augusta Savage not only was friends with Bearden, but she was his art teacher. However, I want to stress, Romar Bearden is not a Harlem Renaissance artist. He was a little kid when the Harlem Renaissance was going on. He is, however, one of the world's foremost collage artists. And of course, a collage is an artistic composition made of a variety of materials: paper, cloth, wood, anything that you can glue and stick down, really. Photographs. So, another vocabulary word we have is a theme. A theme is an idea based on a particular subject. Musicians can have themes, novels normally have themes, but artists definitely have themes. And we are going to examine 3 themes in Romar Bearden's artwork. One of the first thing we're going to look at is city life. To examine this, I'm going to show you 3 sections of a collage that is 4 feet tall and 18 feet long, made by Romar Bearden, celebrating Harlem, called The Block. Here's one section of The Block. And if you notice in the in the left-hand corner, you see an angel. However, this angel is black. And just like we learned in watching A Black Odyssey, Romar Bearden often liked to portray himself and his people in the artwork that he made. So with the yellow circle around the very dark silhouetted face, you get very good contrast, which is the difference between 2 or more elements. This could be value, color, texture in a composition, or the degree of difference between the lightest and darkest parts of a picture. So putting that very black face against that yellow circle really created a focal point for this piece. I would argue it's probably where your eye goes to first above all else, besides maybe the other yellow. And it definitely was a good choice to create contrast and emphasis. Special stress given to an element to make it stand out. So to me, I guess, in this 18-foot long collage, the presence of an angel watching out for people is a very nice thing to have. This is another section of the same piece. The piece is called The Block. Again, very busy with city life, people hanging out, kids running. He plays with scale and size and texture throughout this piece and throughout all his work. And this is one more section of this 18-foot piece called The Block. So Romar Bearden was very interested in celebrating city life with the tussle and bustle, but he also spent his summers in North Carolina with his grandparents. So another big theme of his is Southern living, something that we ought to be able to relate to because it does seem very rural and Southern here in southernmost Illinois. This is a piece I absolutely love called The Three Musicians. It's paying homage to another piece by Pablo Picasso. And again, Bearden really liked to make art that you can hear. Almost all of his collages have some element of sound in them. So here we see guitars and banjos. This one, of course, splitting firewood is my favorite pastime. So I definitely, as soon as I saw this one, I had to include it. And if you'll notice, there are elements that are painted. This is just corrugated cardboard, it looks like. And then there are elements cut out of magazines as well, like the hand and the leaves in the bundle here. See the leaves? And yet another one with things that make sounds. So here's a train. Train could be reminiscent of like a rhythm section, or it could be talking about the Great Migration because many African Americans took the train from the south to get to the north. And you see that guitar showing up again. See these bright colors. Again, making something that you can almost hear. And I love these silly clouds too. I love these very loose and painterly clouds. This is an oil painting that Bearden did. These are people just leaving church. Again, celebrating the spirituality and religiousness of his roots in his hometown and Charlotte. And he could paint pretty well. Like, I love his collages, but this is a nice painting. He also was a printmaker too. This is called Baptism, Prevalence of a Ritual. I want you to sit with this piece for just a moment. All right, so through knowing the title is, we can tell it's a baptism. You see the water being poured on the baby's head. But what's up with these faces? Can any of you guys figure out what these faces, what's going on here? It's kind of weird talking to myself, but hopefully some of you guys figured it out. These are actually based on different masks from Africa. So here he's combining the Southern Christian religion and spirituality and all the way back to the African roots of his ancestors and their religion and spirituality. And you see the hands raised and the singing and the dancing, and you can almost feel yourself being there in the water amongst them. This is called quilting time. And again, look, another guitar, things that are making noise, a bird, birds sing. And this is at the Detroit Museum of Art. Unfortunately, I have never seen a Romar Bearden piece in real life. I really want to. So if you hear of one coming to St. Louis, please let me know. I will be there. But this, of course, is about family, multi-generational family. You got the grandma and the grandpa, all the way down to the little bitty baby and the kid playing in the background. So about family and the love of a family, how important it is for family to gather together. I hope you're getting to spend just enough time with your family and not too much as we remain on this extended lockdown. The last theme we're going to look at is music. I mean, we kind of touched on it. There was some music in the other two themes, but we're going to focus solely on music because I can't stress how much I enjoy these pieces that you can almost hear. That is what I love about Bearden's work more than anything else. So it's a very urban setting for music. You know, got almost graffiti in the background, and he's slapping that stand-up bass and dressed in a very, very fancy suit. And then you have a very country version of music. You got the chicken inside the house with the guy playing the guitar and the woman's whispering in his ear and the guy playing the harmonica. Man, I wish I was there. Then you got another big city scene. This is Billie Holiday belting it out, singing her soul out as hard as she can. Those trumpets are just blaring. Man, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear her scream? I hope so. And this is another one that is just super cool. I wish I was as cool as that guy in the middle. That guy is so cool. And check out that baritone sax. You don't see enough of those anymore. The guy on the keys in the background kind of blending in, but also with the good contrast with the warm orange circle. I can feel it. I can almost hear it. And again, the last one we're going to look at is Uptown Sunday Night. A collage that you can almost hear. You can definitely imagine yourself being there. And as promised, I'm going to show you my work and see if you guys can draw parallels between my work and Bearden's. Now, this is a painting I did, a collage I did of my best friend. His name is Todd Jones. So this is called Ode to Todd Jones. Hopefully you can argue that I'm making a picture that almost can be heard. I don't think it has the complexity or the skillfulness that Bearden does, but I am working towards it. Thank you for your time and attention. I will be right back with your instructions for the week. All right, my young artists. This week what I want you to do is I want you to think of one of the three themes that we examined that you most relate to. Whether that's Southern living, city life, or music. Once you select one of those themes, I want you to make 3 sketches illustrating your ideas and your take on those themes in an abstract and expressive style, much similar to that of my friend and mentor Romar Bearden and myself. I hope you enjoy making these sketches, and I hope you enjoy getting your ideas down on paper. Next week, we are going to make the setting or the background for our collage. And then in the third week, we will finalize our collage. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you take care of yourself. And if you get a chance, somebody else as well.